Don't forget to stay till the very end so you can see how I got that mirror-like finish. Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for coming, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you can see more of my videos. Please. All right, we are going to be using today, we're going to do some black velvet by DIY, some limestone by Wiseau, and some skeleton key. I'm going to be using an 040 brush by Klingon. Don't forget, you can find all these brushes and all these paints on my website at windmillvintagedesigns.com. You guys ready to get going? Here we go. So we are going to start out with skeleton key. We're going to get a small amount of paint and we're just going to smush, 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 smush. The thing about this finish is that you want to dab it on. You don't want any brush strokes. So if you happen to go side to side a little bit, just smush, smush, smush straight down to create texture and eliminate any brush strokes that you may have got. This finish can be done with lots of different paints, I'm sure, but the clay and the DIY really gives it the texture, which is awesome because, you know, it's clay. So that's very, very cool. So I don't want to cover this completely. I just want to give it, yeah, it's a good base coat, but I'm not worried about covering it completely because we're going to do more. Okay, now that we have that pretty much covered, we're going to go ahead and pick up Black Velvet by DIY. We're going to do the same technique. Remember, we are creating texture, so we are dab, dab, dabbing it. Every time you hit down and raise back up, you're going to create a small peak, which is exactly what we want to get the texture to make this finish super cool. You can see that I'm putting it a little bit heavier in some areas, lighter in others. I'm really trying to focus, though, the dark on the crevices, the lines between the drawers, the deep spaces, things like that. This piece is super big, so I'm just going to keep moving on, doing the same technique until we get to the next step. All right, so we have all the black velvet on there. Now we're going to go ahead and blend back. I was going to use limestone by Wiseau, but I decided not to. I went back into my skeleton key, and now I'm going to go ahead and soften up this look. You can really see how just using the paint, the skeleton key on there, and I dab it in, and it blends out. I don't have any water on my brush. We're just going straight on. So this is one of the coolest things about DIY. You're not going to find this with your other paints because there is no latex or acrylics in this paint. So I am able to blend. No matter how cool your other paint is, you're still going to have troubles. Without water, you're going to sit on top of each other and it's going to get you a whole different look. Because of the way these drawers sit, I'm going to go ahead and open them up and give the lip of each one a little bit of the same color so it blends in. I don't always do that, but because of these ones and the way it sits, I feel like it's important. I bought this metallic at Home Depot. I feel like you could probably use a lot of silver metallics, but this is the one I'm going to use. So we are going to do the same technique. We're going to dab, dab, dab. I call it stippling. There's probably other words for it, but that is what we're doing. So again, we want to dab, dab, dab. We do not want to cover up our entire finish. We want to go ahead and get it on there, making sure that we don't squish side to side. If we do, we need to go back and dab, dab, dab to eliminate any side to side swish, swish brush strokes that we might have had. I think sometimes it's really important to sit back and take a look to see where you need to do more or do less or move it around. It's good to stop and assess what you're doing. So, just like with stenciling, offloading your brush a little bit is a good idea. You can see me do it right there. I dab it onto the lid and then offload onto a napkin. That way I don't have too much paint on my brush. All right, we finally have that done. So now we're gonna go ahead and give our entire top 2 coats of black velvet. So we are gonna make this into a glass-like finish. Our first step is gonna be to sand our black velvet back into a super smooth. I have there a fine sanding pad, and I'm just gonna keep sanding until it is super smooth. I'm not sure if you follow Apple Blossom Way on Facebook, but if you do, this is actually where I learned to do the tops like this. She taught us, and now I'm just obsessed. It is so good. I am using Big Top, and I'm going to go ahead and give it 2 coats. Big Top is absolutely my favorite sealer. You do not have to worry about brush strokes or like white clumps or any of those things. Definitely doesn't yellow that you have to do sometimes. This is just a really, really fine little sanding sponge. I'm just gonna go ahead and rough it up, give it a little bit of tooth before I put my second coat on there. All right, coat number 2 of Big Top. And let's remember, we are letting this dry in between probably 30 minutes, maybe not even. I don't know. I'm in New Mexico. You got to remember it's really dry here. My stuff dries fast. We have 2 coats of Big Top on the top of this, but we're going to make it a little bit smoother. Let's see if we can make this into a glass-like finish. Here we go. So we don't need 2. Let's do 1. This is 800 grit sandpaper. Go ahead and just fold it up a little bit like that. And we're going to use some water. So we're going to do some wet sanding. You want to use a light stroke. You want to cover the entire thing. We're going to go in the same direction that we applied our sealer. So long ways on this particular piece. Let's take a lint-free rag and we're going to rub all that off. Now we're going to take a tack cloth so that we can get off any debris that might be on there. These little guys are good. They're reusable. Just put it back in the bag. Okay, so this is Minwax finishing wax. We're going to go ahead and rub a coat of it on there. I'm using steel wool. That is 2000 grit steel wool. We're going to go ahead and just kind of lightly scrub that in there, going again in the same direction. Now I'm going to take a cut up t-shirt. It is again lint free, so these are really good to use, and I'm going to buff till my brains fall out. Just keep buffing till there's no swirlies left, and you will have the most beautiful, softest finish. Metallics, did a lot of stippling, made the top into a super shiny, smooth finish. You can actually see your reflection in it. So much fun to take that extra little step to get this look. All right, so that's it. We did a really super fun finish on here. Thank you guys for watching. This is Melanie from Vintage Makeovers with Melanie. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you soon.